So let's see how to make use of a script debugger to test our user-event script. So I have a user-event script in version 0.2. I just have a before load entry point in this. I'm just trying to get the type, whether it is 8 or something like that, and I'm trying to log that. And I'm calling a custom function. It's just trying to search all the sales orders, and I'm getting the result count, and also I'm going through each and every result, and I'm logging the every result of the sales order. And finally, I'm returning the result count from this custom function search sales order, and the result count is being stored in the variable called as search result count, and even that is being logged using log.audit. I have already uploaded this code to my NetSuite account, and this is the script record which I have created for that particular script, version 2.2, and before load entry point. It has been deployed on a purchase order record. Right now, I'm not in a debugger domain. In order to test this existing user event script using your SuiteScript Debugger, navigate to Customization, Scripting, and click on Script Debugger. You will be ending up in this particular page called as Script Debugger page. Make sure to go through these paragraphs. It's very important to know what you're doing with Script Debugger. So I'm going to log into Script Debugger first by clicking on click here to login. I'm going to log into Script Debugger. Right now I'm Script Debugger page, and on top we can see two buttons, Debug Script and Debug Existing. Next to Debug Existing, there are few more buttons which are completely disabled. And here we have an option to choose the version, API version. I'm going to select Debug Existing button. So from here, I'll be selecting my user event script 2.0 debug, and I'm going to click on select and close. If you feel that your script is not being shown up in this pop-up window, make sure you are the owner of the script, or you are the person who is logging in and who is trying to debug this particular script should be the owner. And on the deployment page, make sure the deployment is in testing status. And these are the two important criteria to test your script in your script debugger mode. And right now, if you clearly notice, it is saying waiting for user action. And the user event script version 2.2, we have before load entry point, and it has been deployed on purchase order. So in order to get our script debugging here and to get the code to be appearing here, I had to trigger that before load entry point. So in order to do that, I'm going to navigate to transactions, purchase, and I'm going to click on enter purchase order. When I click enter purchase order, it is going to request for this purchase order page, and then from server, the before load user event script is going to get triggered. So I'm going to click on this enter purchase order. And if you clearly notice, the moment I click enter purchase order, the user event before load has been triggered, and it has been paused at before load entry point here. And the page which I am requesting is still loading. So I have not completed this step. So until we finish this before load script execution, the page will be still blank. So right now you can see check mark on line number 19. This is called as breakpoint. And if you would like to stop at any line within this before load entry point, add that breakpoint and specific to that line number. Let's say I want to add the breakpoint at line 27. I'm going to click on that space, which is next line 27. And let's say I want to stop at line 21 also. And I want to stop at line 25. I'm going to add this breakpoints by selecting that space next to that line number. And whatever the breakpoints you had here, the bottom, there is a subtab called as breakpoints, and it will be showing up all the breakpoints which you have added so far. Right now we selected line 25, line 21, and line 27. And coming to execution log, in this execution log subtab, you can see all the logs which we have added in our before load script entry point. Right now we have 3 logs: log.debug, log.audit, and line 29 with log.audit. And coming to custom function, that custom function also we have line 54 which says search result count with log.debug. And we are looping through all the results of the sales order, and inside that each and every result we are logging one more time. And coming to local variables, you can see all the variables which we declared inside our before load entry point. Let's say the type, and it has an argument called as script context, and we have a variable called as search result count, right? So all these 3 variables are appearing here. If I just expand the script context, we can see the property which is type, which is create and form request and other properties for this context argument. And for our variable type, which is currently undefined because we have not executed line 21. So that is the reason the type is undefined, and even search result count is undefined. So now let's proceed with execution of our script. So on top, if you see, or if you can clearly notice on top, all these buttons has been enabled now. So the first button is called as step over, the second button is called as step into, and the third button is called as step out, and this one is called as continue. And if you don't want to continue with this debugging, you can click cancel on this. So let's start debugging our user event script before load entry point. So I'm going to click on the step over. This is going to go line by line. So I'm going to click on step over. I'm going to stop at line 21. And if I click step over one more time, it is going to stop at line 22. And let me click one more time. Now, if you can see, that stopped at line 25, right? So far, we have executed 3 lines, line 21, line 22, and we are currently halted at line 25, which means this function would not have been called. So it's still waiting for our action. So if I just scroll down at this point, and if I just go to execution log, we can see one log which is before load triggered, and where we have logged for type, and we can see the type as create. And if I go to local variables, you can see the type now it has been changed from undefined to create because this has the variable value now with create. And if you clearly notice, search result count is still undefined because we are still paused at line 25. So I'm going to click step over to continue this execution. And when I click step over, if you clearly notice, it is taking time because the custom function has to run all the search and log all the results. Now we are at line 27. If I just scroll down and if I just go to execution log, now if you clearly notice, we have multiple logs. It's just because inside our custom function, when we have the results, we are looping through all the results and we are trying to log that particular result. So that is the reason we have all the logs for each and every result. So if I just scroll up and click on local variables, we can see the search result count also. That's total of 174. Now if I just scroll up, and right now we are in line 27, and let me just click step over. Once I click step over, since we don't have any breakpoints after that line, it has completed the execution. Now if I just go back to that particular page, now we can see it has loaded and waiting for our action to enter all the values. Now if you clearly notice, we have not covered all the buttons here. We just covered only one button, which is step over. So let's see what is this step into, step out, and just continue. So I'm going to click to switch to editor, and I'm going to select debug existing and select my script, and it is waiting for our action. So I'm going to do the same step by creating or loading the purchase order. I can even open any existing purchase order also. So right now I'm just opening a new purchase order page. So right now it's still loading, which means it would have triggered our action here. Right now, if you see, all the breakpoints are being restored because previously we tested with the same script. So it just restores all the breakpoints which we added before. So I'm going to uncheck line 21 as of now. And now I'm going to click on step into. Now even this is going to be the same case. I'm going to go step by step. Now let's click on step into. Line 21, let's go further, line 22 and line 25. And now if you clearly notice, this search result count for this line 25 is trying to call a function called as search sales orders. Now if I just click on step into, it is taking me inside that function, line 33, right? Now if I just click one more time, so it is taking us inside this function, custom function, and it is going through all the lines. If you want to debug this custom function, you can make use of this step into, so that it goes to that custom function and checks all the lines, and you can debug even here. And if you would like to add breakpoints, even you can add the breakpoints at specific lines inside this custom. So I'm gonna step out of this custom function now. I don't want to continue with this line 55 until line 60. So I'm gonna click on the step out button now. It is taking time because it has a lot of results to run and log all the values. Now if you just see, it has come back to my line 27 because it has completed the execution of line 25, and we are stopped at line 27, and further we don't have any more breakpoints. I'm going to click step into one more time. Now since we don't have any breakpoints, it's still stopping at line 29, so I'm going to click step into one more time. This has taken us into standard predefined functions from NetSuite. So I'm going to step out of this predefined functions, and I'm going to click continue. So it's going to continue all the executions, and it's going to complete our deployed script execution. Now coming to this continue button, if I just click continue, and we have still a lot of breakpoints, line 25 and line 27. Now if I just click continue, now it has stopped me at the next breakpoint. So I'm going to click continue one more time. Now it is going to complete my script execution, and you can see this which says completed deployment script execution, and our purchase order would have been loaded now. So this is how you test your SuiteScript version 2.2 driven script using your script debugger. Now let's see how to test your user-driven script version 2.1 using your script debugger or your Chrome tools. It's the same code which I did for version 2.0. Whatever the script I added in before load, I have kept the same script or logic in before submit entry point. And I have already uploaded this code as well, my NetSuite account, and this is the script record which has been created. And this has before submit entry point. And coming to the deployments, this has been applied to the same purchase order. As I mentioned before, in order to use your or in order to test your script in a script debugger, you have to make sure the deployment is in testing and you should be the owner of the script. So let's go to our script debugger now, and I'm going to select debug existing. I can see my user event script 2.1 debug here, so I'm going to select that and click select and close. Now if you see, it's waiting for my user action. I have already opened a purchase order, an existing purchase order, which has already filled out and it has already been saved also. Now I'm going to just click save. Now if I just come back to my script debugger, it has thrown me an error saying pop-ups were blocked on this page. So I'm going to enable this pop-up and I'm going to try one more time. So if I just go back to the same purchase order and click save one more time. Okay, what happened here is I just clicked save. Once I click save, at the backend for version SuiteScript 2.1, it should has opened this particular new tab with the script selected and the user event script which we uploaded has been sourced here. On the right hand side, we have all the debugger tools, the Chrome debugger tools. And now coming to this debugger tools, I have already explained in my previous video how to use this debugger tools and how to add the breakpoints for each and every line and how to use this step into, step out, and step over and step and enable, disable, or inactivate, deactivate all the breakpoints at one shot. And here we have all the variables, local variables, and all those stuffs. And if you see, I have selected few breakpoints and it is also being shown up on the right hand side. So if you would like to know more about how to use this Chrome debugger tools with respect to, I have created a client script debugging using this Chrome debugger tool. You can check out that video, or even you can find out any video on YouTube for using the debugger tools